What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1024 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I hope you are all having a fantastic Thursday today. I am here with my guest co-host for the day. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everybody. My name is Olivia Dasovic. I am one of the volunteer moderators on the Timcast Discord, which you should go and join right now. Actually, do it when you're done here.
And PCC pinch hitter, always coming in to help me out.
I do, yeah. I don't know why. There's something about you asking. I'm like, I guess I'll do it. You know?
You can make the time for it.
Yeah, I guess I figure it out, right?
That's perfect.
I do what I can.
Here's the thing. We didn't even come in at the same time today.
No.
So how you doing today?
I'm doing okay, you know, hung out with the cats for a little bit, slept in a little bit, that was nice, but yeah, hung out and then nice drive in. I hung out in the Discord, by the way. If you guys join the Discord, I hang out there. Whenever I drive in to do PCC, it's like a pre-PCC show. I go and I chat with them, right? You know, I go talk to them for a little bit. It's a good time. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here co-hosting. It'll be fun.
Perfect. Guys, what you should do as well is hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I'm trying to walk back the speed at which I talk because last night I started noticing myself coughing again. So I'm just going to try to chill it out a little bit. I don't want to lose my voice again, but you should hit the like button on this video and you should subscribe to the channel perhaps. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Remember to share this episode out with everybody in your life that you both love and hate. The more people that you share the show with, the faster this channel can grow. Also, I want to remind you guys that tonight I will be recording a full PCC bonus episode with Blabs from Side Scrollers. We are going to talk about all things Harry Potter, and that will be up for members only tonight after I get done recording that with her. I do kind of want to get into this habit now, perhaps, of finding like who I can do a show with that maybe I could do that live for members only. But the thing is, it like adds a whole ton of pressure if like you have internet troubles or something goes wrong. There is something freeing about being able to just pre-record something, even though it's kind of to the detriment of its reach. But I do want to look into that, so you should go and become a channel member here for PCC. Also remember that people gift channel memberships all the time, so go ahead and look out for that. If you're watching in the live chat, that could happen to you. So what are we getting into today? We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Well, one of the things that I have been long telling you guys is that the journalists, the ones in charge of going and interviewing actors, they don't actually like these guys. I think, for the most part, most of these journalists have a deep-seated distrust and hatred for a lot of these actors, and I feel like I am proven right over and over again, because what ends up happening is you end up getting these clips taken out of context, which end up hurting the productions that they're making. This has happened today, a couple hours before we went live. The cast from Super Mario Galaxy, they were doing this Italian comedy podcast that I can't even pronounce, and they basically gave a gotcha weird leading question to Charlie Day, which came out with a quote saying that Luigi Mangione is his second favorite American Luigi, which of course was meant as a joke, but is now being passed around in what feels like an attempt to try and sabotage the box office for Super Mario Galaxy. I don't think it's going to have an effect on it, but we'll talk about the quote. We'll show you, we'll play it for you, and you guys can kind of be judges for yourself on whether you think I am right about that. We will also talk about Taylor Swift, who is getting sued again. She has a huge, it's not just her suing people, guys. There's also a huge laundry list of past lawsuits against her. But somebody believes that they have that Taylor Swift has infringed on the trademark of Life of a Showgirl with their own thing that they had copyright or that they had trademarked back in 2015. So we will talk about that, and we will also get into the Lily Reinhart quote that's going around, where she talks about how a misogynistic director told her to suck her stomach in while she was filming a scene. And it kind of dovetails nicely with these quotes from this recent article from Kate Winslet about her rejection of Ozempic. So we'll get into that. What does it mean to have unrealistic beauty standards in Hollywood? We've got that. We've got a bunch of other stuff. If you are ready, Olivia, we can go. Are you ready?
So ready.
She's so ready, ladies and gentlemen. All right. let's go ahead and talk about it then. I thought that this was very interesting. I didn't know how to approach this at first because what I was looking at was the transcript of a quote taken from an interview for Super Mario Galaxy, in which these guys who host this podcast called Tintoria, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. It's an Italian comedy podcast. The key word there is Italian, where they gave a leading question to Charlie Day, which resulted in the quote you're seeing on screen here, or at least you're seeing it on screen here right now. If you're watching the show, if you're listening, what can I do? What can I tell you? You're not getting a transcript here. It says, this is from Culture Crave. It says, Charlie Day says Luigi Mangione is his second favorite Luigi in recent American history, and devoid of all context, that makes him look unbelievably awful. But what we should do then, guys, is we should listen to the clip first here so that you can at least have a shred of the context as to how this relates to everything. So let's play it here. It's about 35 seconds.
I have a question for you, Charlie. You play Luigi, a great Italian guy. Who's your favorite Luigi in recent American history?
Recent American history?
He's so awkward right now. Like, you know,
so
he knows he has just walked into a trap.
He knows.
And he knows.
Well, me, first of all.
That nobody who laughs like that is actually happy, by the way.
No, that is the fakest laugh.
Number one. Luigi Mangione.
Luigi Mangione.
Number two. That's perfect. That's only one.
That's one we want to thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That'd be great for time to me.
Again, what he said was in recent American history, which means that they were pushing him for that answer. But here's the problem. I don't actually think Charlie Day's quote here is the problem. I think the issue here is the fact that I had to go looking for it. And what you're looking at here is ostensibly an Italian comedian, two Italian comedians who host a podcast who want to make actors say funny stuff. But the problem is it's coming out right as Super Mario, as Mario's about to come out, and that's a problem.
Yeah, you know what? Like, the thing with this is, one, he was baited into it, right? He was totally baited into it. But also, I'm really sick of people taking things out of context. And if you guys know me, you know I am both pop culture and politics, so I relate a lot of pop culture to politics. And this is like the Charlie Kirk quote where he said something about black pilots, right? And he was kidding, he was making a joke. And
I
then
saw that Ed Krasenstein
exactly,
post
and then
today.
he went on to, in the rest of the clip, he went on to say, I'm obviously kidding or I'm being hyperbolic, but he basically was trying to say, like, as a joke, but then everyone took it out, and now we have Ed Krasenstein saying, oh, I wish Charlie was, like, obviously he's not serious, but he's saying, I wish Charlie was here to see a black astronaut go to the moon. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is... Oh, wow, we got two big super chats. Let's go with those, because those are big.
We'll do the 20 here first from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, Brett, just be aware that sometimes reporters ask questions and frame stories based on what their editors have told them to do. In some cases, they can only keep their jobs by being a jerk. Well, okay, that's a fairly interesting point. So if you want to talk about the difference between, say, new media and old media, where that type of editorial was more common, the issue people have is then the dude who's saying, I was just doing my job, and he's willing to do that, right? Like, he's willing to frame it that way, knowing that it's not necessarily the most honest way of doing so. Now, I like talking about it in the context of what we're doing here, because I do find, if we're talking about like what you're talking about with Charlie Kirk or an Artemis 2 astronaut, those have more real world implications than what we're looking at here. But pop culture in a lot of ways ends up being a microcosm of bigger issues that are going on in the world. So that same editorial probably isn't the case here, since this is two, comedians who have a podcast. I don't know if these guys have some type of editorial board. I find that hard to believe. I think they were trying to be funny, and here's the thing. I actually do find his reaction funny, because he's been baited into this answer, but the transcript of it gives you exactly the reaction you expect you're going to get from people, which is everybody saying, like, this dude, like, this guy is accused of murdering an American citizen. That's not funny, because it's not. That isn't funny. So that's the problem here. And they don't want these types of quotes coming out when they're, Mario just came out. Like, it just came out the other day. It did like 34 million opening day at the box office, and it's projected, I believe, to make 350 million opening weekend, which is a huge amount of box office revenue, and they don't want bad press, and you can't blame them for not wanting bad press, but he was baited into this question.
Well, and also dark humor is a thing, right? And a lot of people use shock humor and dark humor, and to pretend that there's not a subset of people that might find that joke funny is dishonest. I mean, you and I both have dark humor. We both find, and I don't think that the murder of the CEO was funny, but people have been making jokes and memes about it. People started memeing things right after tragedy happens. People meme it. They cope with humor. I cope with humor.
I don't even know if it's even coping anymore. I think this is just coping with humor is something you do if you actually knew the person.
Yeah,
outside of that, we've just kind of, as a society, we don't have the same level of decorum that we had because the internet means everything moves faster than it did before.
But it goes to a larger point of like, and full disclosure, I think most people know this. My mom passed away over 10 years ago now. And I've made jokes about that, many jokes about that probably would be off-putting to people. But in a larger scale, people do that in a way of like, sometimes humans don't know how to process very serious events like that.
We got it. Let's do the 50 here.
Yeah.
Big super chat here from Brian Bledsoe. Thank you, my friend. Says, quick review. Fast paced like the first, basically a speed run. So much movement. 4DX is going to be wild. Lovers of the game will have a blast, especially if you've played everything. If you've played everything Mario. I've only played the original 1 through 3, but had a great time. Yeah, I mean, from everything that I've seen, the movie right now, if you want to look at where it's sitting at Rotten Tomatoes wise, 43% from the critics, 91% from the audience, which is on par with what the first movie did roughly, which was 59% from the critics, 95% from the audience. So don't think that a low critic score here is going to put people off going to see this movie. Depending on who you trust from it, Jeremy Jahns didn't think all that much of the movie either, but that's what happens. And most of from what I've seen, it's like people who are diehard Mario fans are going to love it, and they're going to bring their kids to it, and they're going to really enjoy the movie. So look, I don't think any of this is going to hurt the box office, but back to your point about dark humor.
Yeah, so first of all, my brother's a huge Mario fan, and he's obsessed. I literally just texted him and was like, so hey, are you going to go see the Mario movie? Because that's the review I care about, is my brother's review, because he has always been a diehard fan. Our whole life has been filled with Mario, related games. I've made the point before on the Discord. I've talked about how I loved playing the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. That was like my favorite thing back in the day. So, I would say though that people do say things with dark humor, and it's supposed to be a comedy podcast or whatever. Their show is comedy, right? It's kind of an improv comedy thing, and I'm not offended. I'm not offended by it because one, he was baited into it, and two, it's just not that big of a deal, in my opinion. It's not going to affect the box office.
Like you could have been snapped out of that from the beginning if you had seen the clip, because you would have seen the awkward laughter and the way it was being framed. But when you read the quote does look kind of awful. Right? The way it's framed by sites like Culture Crave, which have millions upon millions of followers and get huge press. But this article I thought was really funny. I didn't send you this, but I thought this was interesting. The way they frame this here from Paste says, Mario's Charlie Day can't resist the bait when asked for his favorite Luigi in recent American history. Meaning that they know exactly what they're doing. The media understands that narrative framing is the most important aspect of a story, right? Like, basically, depending on where you get your news, you can be told how to feel about something. And if you get your news from somebody else, by virtue of lies by omission and narrative framing, you're kind of given a positive or a negative implication on a story or a piece of media based on what those people say.
And that goes for not just Hollywood and politics, but really everything. So it's kind of like people that just watch MSNBC or just CNN, or people that just watch Fox, or they might just watch Tim. Like, they don't get, and it's not to say that Tim has his biases, right? So you can watch, like, if everyone puts on, let's say they put on The Quartering, they put on Tim, they put on Fox News, and that's all they watch, they're going to get a very different frame than if you were to watch CNN, MSNBC. We'll get into The View a little bit later, but also The View. You're going to get different framings of all these stories, even pop culture stories. Also, breaking news: my brother is watching it on Saturday.
There you go.
He just texted me back. So
I was on pins and needles.
I know all of you were wondering. You guys should all say hi to my brother in the chat. I'll tell him all of you say hi.
This is why, like, when I review shows, usually on X, which is where I write my very disjointed reviews for shows, I'm usually like, look, don't take my word for it. Like you might like if I really like something, there's a huge possibility that you may watch it and feel very differently about it. My lived experience and desire for a certain type of entertainment based on what I like, because I do believe that the life you've lived in the media you've watched kind of leads into influencing the type of stuff that you like watching. It's completely plausible that the stuff I like to watch, you will not. So I always say, I'm like, don't take what I'm saying as a review. Take it as a guide where if you have looked at stuff I've watched in the past and agreed with me, then you can use that as some type of baseline. But if you don't bother. Like, you don't need to use me as a guide because I'm not here to give you a review. I'm just here to tell you how I feel about a specific piece of media. The same goes for stuff like this. Don't just read the quote, go listen to the clip and make up your own mind about whether you feel like this is going to affect it. And this is true. So the Millie Alcock the Millie Alcock stuff that we've been doing this week is very relevant because it was written up in a Vanity Fair article, but they don't get those answers from her by osmosis. She doesn't just suddenly start talking about women in Hollywood and IP. Somebody has to ask her questions to lead her to the answers, and very oftentimes the questions that they ask lead them to the answers that they want.
Yeah, and again, sorry, I'm bringing my brother because he's like the one thing I know about Mario. He's like very much into Mario, and I did send him the link and was like, you should go look at the chat. Yeah. But he, I would take his opinion with more weight because he probably won't even see this story unless it's me sending it to him, and he's not gonna care because to him that's not the world that he's involved in. It's not the world that he lives in, and so he just said, "Oh dang," they like come say hi. But it's just one of those things that I don't care. I don't think people care. I think people that are fans of Mario and the franchise of everything Super Mario aren't going to care because at the end of the day, they want to go watch the movie, and maybe it's just my perspective of my brother, but he doesn't want to watch all the media around it, all the press around it, because to him it's not just like a Hollywood movie, it's a Mario movie.
And our audience is uniquely, like, our audience here is uniquely specific to wanting to know what's going on.
Right, so it's interesting that there's it's interesting that there's such he's driving. There's such a difference between those things. So I know a super fan, and that's how I can speak on it in my experience. And so I don't know, I don't think it's going to affect the movie all that much. I think it'll be fine. I didn't laugh at the joke, but I get it. It's somebody's sense of humor out there, and it would just be stupid to get offended by that.
All right, let's move on, guys. We've got more stuff to get into. Another thing Hollywood is famous for is giving you absolutely horrible advice because they don't live normal lives. They're not like you or I. They live in a bubble, and a lot of times they're going to try and get you to do things that are really, really stupid. And one of those things has been coming out more and more recently, and I saw this interview clip yesterday on Z-Way with Leslie Jones, and it since has gone viral, and then Libby Emmons posted about it. And basically, they're saying, or at least I should say, Leslie Jones is saying that marriage is akin to slavery. That's what she's saying, and that you should not get married. Let's listen to this clip here, ladies and gentlemen, so you can listen to what Leslie Jones has to say on the topic of marriage.
I do.
So a dominant to your submissive.
I'm not submissive.
Could you be a trad wife is what I'm asking.
Trad wife meaning like I'd be at home and no.
Like making Oreos from scratch.
I don't absolutely not.
Why not?
Because that's not who the I am, and my daddy didn't raise me like that.
To be a trad wife.
To be anybody's wife. My dad used to literally say that to me. I didn't raise you to be somebody's wife.
That's so brave.
I don't know if it's brave or smart. Most of the people that I know that's gotten married are divorced now.
And so, really, that's an indictment of the institution.
Yeah.
Technically, it's an indictment of the choices that those people made, but, you know, here we go. Like, it's like saying, like, I live in a town where there have been 5,000 car accidents, or in, like, a world where there's all these car accidents. It's an indictment of driving. No, not really.
Not really.
But let's continue.
I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do.
Let's walk that. I'm sorry. Let's
really, that's an indictment of the institution.
Yeah. I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Say more, because if I'm thinking about slavery and I'm thinking about marriage, there are two different images that come into my
Absolutely
head.
not. I don't know how you don't. A man is, especially if he expecting you to be a trad wife, he might as well pull out a whip and a chain.
Wow. So there are young people watching who might be wanting to get married. What would you say to them?
Don't
get married.
No.
Okay.
Oh God, you are crazy.
How am I crazy?
You are crazy.
You're saying that marriage is a...
No, I don't believe in the marriage. No, I don't.
So you wouldn't get married?
No, and I don't think it's beneficial for a woman at all.
Okay. So another thing that's funny about this is Z-Way is another one, much like the topic we were just talking about with Super Mario, where it rides the line of serious and comedy. Because obviously she has that very annoying, like intentionally awkward style of show where the whole point is to grab these sound bites that make people look awful. But the sentiment is the same.
I don't think that was a joke coming from Les. I don't think that was a joke. Look, if you guys saw my reaction, I don't watch these clips beforehand when I'm going to be doing the live show because I want my authentic reaction on the show. Like, I'll know we're talking about it, and then I'll watch the clip live with you guys so that you guys get what I'm feeling. And I was shocked and appalled. And as someone who has been married now 7 months and a couple days here, I don't feel like I'm a slave or I'm entrapped. I think marriage has made me a better person. It's made me a better woman. And I mean, I'm baffled. Like, this isn't a new sentiment, but it is absolutely shocking. I mean, legalize slavery, that is a harsh thing to say. And she's acting like every marriage ends up with a man making a woman be submissive. And I prefer to do a lot of the homemaking in our home, to be completely honest. I don't make Oreos from scratch, but I do like...
But you could if you wanted to.
If I wanted to, I could. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy baking. Brett helps me, but I do a lot of the cleaning, and because I like things done a certain way. And so I'm not going to be the wife that's like, can you do this? And then be like, you didn't do it my way, so I'm just going to do it. And I don't mind doing it. I like doing it. I actually quite enjoy it. You'll come home from skating. I'll be like sitting there like, woo, cleaning, listening to music and happy. And I don't feel like I'm enslaved in any way. It's a thing that needs to be done, regardless if I'm married or single, to be honest.
Well, I mean, also, we're like both very clean people, so
right. It's the cat hair that is like the biggest thing, is like cleaning the cat hair off.
Yeah, I'm the one who was really hard done by because of the cats.
That's true. Yeah, no, it's something that you need to basically do. You have to do these things.
But here's the problem. They never frame it. It's always a straw man argument. Like, they don't frame it as something that two people enter in together because they want to build a life together. They frame it as some form of oppression or forced action, which is obviously not anyone's actual intent, or at least no good person's actual intent when you enter into a relationship.
Right. And I can tell you guys right now, I was in fact not forced into a marriage. I was so excited. For those of you who don't know, just a very brief 30-second story of how we got engaged. It was very impromptu, and it happened at home, and that's okay. I didn't need anything big or whatever. It wasn't even the ring I have on now. It was a sentimental ring from his mother that he had proposed with, and God bless our landlord, because we live upstairs, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and I was like jumping, and like I was so excited. I didn't do the, oh my God, don't worry, I did not do that.
I wouldn't have. I mean, I probably would have rescinded it if you'd put your hands to
the
your mouth
only
and
witness
done
is toast.
Yes.
But I'm saying I didn't feel like I was going, like I wasn't like, oh man, like this is gonna be some kind of oppression. I was so excited, and because I love my husband and I love building our life together, it's not a bad thing. And to spread this narrative and to say people shouldn't get married.
Well, let's talk, because look, let's talk about the Isabel Brown stuff, because that connects to it as well.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know Isabel Brown, she is a Daily Wire host. She went to CPAC a couple weeks ago and said something about wanting people to be brave enough and have the courage to teach their kids to get married. And believe it or not, in the year of our Lord 2026, it does take courage to tell your children that somehow. And she went on saying she wanted people to get married, and of course our favorite people ever on The View, including Whoopi Goldberg, who's 70 by the way, basically said that it was stupid. She went through to all of their viewers saying that telling the Star that people used to come after women of color and accuse women of color of doing this very thing.
Meaning what?
I wish I could tell you, but it's saying that the culture of that is somehow oppressive and bad. So what are we all, just a group of women? And then saying like, what's literally slapping the table, being like, what, just crashing out completely.
I mean, the contrary argument to this would be to tell men to be brave and pick wisely, get married, settle down, start a family, and build a better world for your children.
Yes, and that's all Isabel Brown was saying. And Isabel Brown, by the way, she's in her late 20s, married with a baby, so she can speak on this subject as someone who actually has lived it. Mind you, I believe 4 out of the 5 women have been married or had children on The View, which is also weird. But they said that Isabel Brown's statement, quote, wraps a woman's worth up in her ovaries in a way that for too long has happened. What are you talking about? They're talking about how, like, basically it is oppressive, and they went on. So Isabel Brown obviously reacted to this, and the first time she offered to go on the show and explain her viewpoint, The View said no, until they got all the backlash from Isabel Brown sharing this with her audience. And now Isabel Brown is going to go on The View and explain her point of view. Mind you, Isabel Brown has the right view. When I look at these 5 women sitting on this panel complaining about their lives and how they're so oppressed and how they, like, you guys have so much money, you're sitting here on this set, on this TV show, that ratings have just dropped so many times, yet you continue to have this show. How is that not the opposite of oppression?
Well, here, I like these two, I think are the most interesting here. Anna Navarro asked where Brown's call to responsibility for the men was to help the call to responsibility to the men who helped make these children was. Like, where was their call?
She said, get married.
Exactly. I don't know why it's always people lecturing women what they are to do or not to do. Bottom line, if you're not paying my bills, you don't get to tell me what I do with my uterus, she said. But the thing is, they don't understand that the conservative argument here would be that would be the ideal world anyway,
right?
Which is that the guy would be the one paying the bills. I mean, that's not the reality of the world we live in for the most part anymore. Like, both people are working most of the time anyways. But the idea here is one is acting as if the other one is acting in bad faith, and that's not necessarily what they're doing. But this is also the problem about reaching across the aisle on issues like this, is nobody's willing to give anybody the most charitable version, like the most charitable interpretation of what they're saying. Whitney Cummings said that she felt that Brown doesn't even realize how goofy her point was, citing that the portion of her speech during which she said that women need courage to get married. Well, obviously that's true, because at this moment we've got a whole panel of people dunking on her for saying it. So technically it does require courage to do so. I also saw this. There was a study done back in 2019 from Morgan Stanley that basically says that 45% of women will be single by the year 2030, and it's framed as a good thing because they call it the she-economy.
Oh,
because,
that's the worst thing I've ever...
Women who make their own money and spend their own money on their own things double the amount of money spent in the economy. Because people are going to they're going to be spending money on things that have large profit margin, like Lululemon.
Okay, that hurts my brain. As a woman that like that, everything hurts. So again, this study that we're citing is ages 25 to 44, which is the age in which most people meet, marry, have kids. 45% is crazy. Now, mind you, 45% of women maybe not wanting to get married are probably not marriage material. I'm just going to say that. Maybe not. Eventually you will hear, so you probably don't notice it. The click.
There's a faint click.
But I wasn't listening for it because I wasn't watching the crisis meter. I was just in the moment talking. And so all of a sudden I was like, whoo.
I hear the faint click every time.
See, I don't, because I'm not listening for it. I have no idea. I see you guys super chatting, and I love that, but I'm also in the moment here talking. So let me try to get back to what I was saying. So these women who they're saying will be single in 2030 will be of marriage eligibility age, and I say eligibility meaning like they're about that age where people would get married, have kids. And to be honest with you guys, like, I know plenty of women who are like, I'm a girl boss, I don't need no man. No man really actually wants that attitude in their girlfriend or their wife in a marriage. Absolutely not. If I was like that, Brett would have been repulsed by me so bad.
What was the thing that I saw the other day? Now I already forgot it. The quote that was. Oh, never mind. Continue. I lost it.
When we say things like,
oh, it's the stuff about Lauren Sanchez and Mackenzie Scott.
Yes.
Where they're like, hold on, let me keep going. I'm gonna see if I can pull this tweet out.
And when we have to use phrases like her story, or whatever, and she-conomy, it is so. Not only is it kind of degrading in a way because you're trying to define it as something specifically for women, and that's weird. I don't like the idea that there's so much that falls on, like, what am I trying to say here? I guess I'm trying to say that trying to make it like women specific is so cringy and so weird. And like feminism has gone way too far already. And for that many women to be single, I mean, we're already in a population decline. We're already having a lot of issues. But if those women aren't good marriage material and they would make horrible mothers, and I don't mean to accuse anybody, maybe just don't, I guess, if that's really, but like we need to teach our children. I'm looking at all of you watching this show right now, those of you that have children. We need to actually do what Isabel Brown is saying and to teach them to have those values, to grow up and get married and have kids and be bold in that, and don't be ashamed by that. Don't be ashamed by believing in that lifestyle because they want you to feel shame. That's why they're shaming Isabel Brown. That's why they're shaming people who get married.
It's a false equivalency for them to pretend like it's not brave of her to say it when it's not the dominant
narrative. And they're
narrative.
Sitting there crapping on her, you know?
Here was the thing. This was from Rebecca Jones. It was a picture of Mackenzie Scott and then Lauren Sanchez, and it says, Mackenzie Scott, Princeton graduate, writing novels at age 6, studied under Toni Morrison, founded Amazon, and one of the biggest philanthropists in history versus whatever the F this is. And my point was that none of that is why you marry someone.
Right.
Like you don't you can be attracted to their level of intelligence, absolutely, but not dudes aren't looking for your credentials when deciding who to marry. And my point was, I quote tweeted it and said, like, so what? Lauren Sanchez wrote children's books and started a helicopter company. Like, and neither of those reasons are the reasons he married her. It's just not.
Right. You marry somebody who you know you can build.
Though I did, who was it? Mary did point out that I guess he cheated on Mackenzie Scott with Lauren Sanchez, so it's probably already doomed from the start.
Yeah,
but the point is like the credentials weren't the reason for the relationship.
Right, and I married to grow a life together because it was somebody that I was compatible with, that shared my values, that would make me want to build a family, and someone I would trust to raise up children, because inherently, biologically, we all want children. Even if you think you can like push them back and be like, I don't want kids, most people biologically are wired to want children and to create offspring. And so I wanted to find somebody who shared those values and could raise up a family with me, and I did find somebody that can do that. And I'm very blessed to have that. But I think if you don't even embrace that idea, you're already losing. If you can't embrace the idea, and again, like you're saying, for them to be like, oh well, it's you think you're so brave and it takes courage, and then they sit there
and trash
her the entire time, then obviously it did take courage for her to say that, and we should encourage it. So anyone watching, yes, get married, have babies, build a life together. I know it's not that simple to just say it, but look, you meet somebody, and if you know, and that's absolutely true. I never believed that until I met my husband, but I never believed it, and now I do. So
all right, let's move on. Now that we've given everybody good advice, or at least you have given everybody good advice, it's time to dunk on something that you'd wanted to talk about ever since it aired, and that is, of course, the Hannah Montana reunion.
I am so excited to talk about this, you guys. The Hannah Montana 20-year anniversary special aired on March 24th, but the day before there was a red carpet where we saw cast members like Miley Cyrus, Jason Earls, Cody Lindley, Moises Arias, and others were joining. But there were two people missing, and that would be Emily Osment and Mitchell Musso, who played, respectively, Miley's/Hannah's best friends and closest confidants.
Brother of Mason Musso, right?
Yes, who's been on the show.
Friend of the channel.
Friend of the channel. Someone I've actually met at the hotel he was staying at, because I was staying at the same hotel at the time. I didn't live here yet. Yep. I ran into him and was like, oh, hey.
Friend of the channel.
Yeah,
on the
so
show.
His brother, Mitchell Musso, was not there. And so that was kind of a downer. And as someone who grew up watching Hannah Montana, I was very excited. Now, there were reasons given for Emily Osment not being there. She was filming another show and couldn't make it, which ironically is a spinoff of a spinoff. So it's kind of like, what are you doing? And then Mitchell Musso was not given a reason, but the assumption is that he was blacklisted from Disney after getting a DUI and has not been...
Is that...
Yes,
True?
that's real.
Really?
That's
Just because
real.
of a DUI?
A DUI, and they did not want him to come back because he was revered by so many children, and they thought that wasn't like becoming of somebody who.
But like, how long ago was the DUI?
But it was a while ago now. But
I mean, you're telling me there's no statute of limitations on that?
I'm not Disney, but
Yeah.
that's the assumption, is that's why. So the special comes out, and fans were extremely disappointed because not only was it a very short special, it was only 1 hour long, and you think these specials might be a bit longer than that and a bit more interactive than that. So only Miley was interviewed by Alex Cooper from Call Me Daddy, which
Her daddy.
call me daddy. Call her daddy. Don't call me daddy. Call her daddy. From Call Her Daddy, and some cameos from other stars. Not even
Maybe
all
that's
stars
another
from the show.
podcast.
I think we should make that should be the Saturday stream.
Not my show.
Mine.
Continue.
Call me daddy. I'm daddy. Okay, so only Miley was interviewed by Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy, and there were some cameos. Selena Gomez had a couple guest star roles playing, I believe the name was Michaela. They had Billy Ray Cyrus, who also played her dad on the show. Tish Cyrus, which is her mom, who was not on the show. They had the former Disney Channel global president, Gary Marsh, who was not on the show but was part of the casting for Hannah Montana. And there was an old choreo, someone, I don't know if it was her coach or someone she knew, named Jamal Sims, and she did the Hoedown Throwdown with him, which is from the Hannah Montana movie. Noah Cyrus appeared at the very end. And weirdly enough, Chappell Roan is thrown into this mix. And it felt very forced, and people felt very baited. There was a concert montage that happened, and influencers were invited, which is also kind of weird, but invited a bunch of influencers. And
but that's what most of the movie premieres are now these days. Is
well,
like,
she dressed up like Hannah Montana and did like a live concert, and people were like, people should have been able to like submit to like go, like win to go, at least like a couple people, but it really didn't happen. But actual cast members could have been on. This is the critiques we're getting from the fans here. They're saying that cast members should have been on, and Sabrina Carpenter, who is known to be a diehard fan of Hannah Montana back in the day, she had this whole campaign for Miley Cyrus's Be a Star competition where you could go and meet Miley, and that never, she had like these tickets, there it is, there's the photo, it's really cute. That's little Sabrina Carpenter, who basically campaigned to do this. She would have made more sense, in my opinion, than Chappell Roan, who kind of just was there and said...
Feels like Chappell Roan would be like, act like she was too cool for it.
No, Chappell Roan was like, Hannah walked so I could run. And I was like, girl, shut up. Like, you're not that important. So there was other guest stars that could have been there, like, I can't remember her name right now. I just watched her on a podcast. But she plays the character Tracy Van Horn, who is Hannah Montana's best friend.
Okay.
Not Miley Stewart, but Hannah Montana's best friend. So... now there is a lot that could have been. I think there was a lot they missed out on. I think what they could have done is interview all the cast of characters. So I have a vast knowledge on this because I grew up watching the show, and now there is a rewatch podcast called Best of Both Our Worlds.
So do you watch it? Or do you listen to it?
The rewatch?
Yeah.
It just started, and yeah,
Okay.
I just finished the episode today on my way here. So the rewatch is with Jason Earls, who plays Jackson Stewart, Miley's brother, on the show. And then there are two like executive producers or people
There's like
that
a
worked on it.
whole cottage industry of like older actors that start
That's what he's doing.
podcasts rewatching the show. Like Emily Deschanel has a Bones rewatch podcast with the girl who plays Sweets' wife.
Oh, yay, Daisy. But yes, I really enjoyed it. I watched it today, and they had the girl who played Tracy Van Horn on, and I really enjoyed it. It's cool to watch them go back and talk about what it was like, and that's what I was hoping they were going to do. So I can give you guys what I would have done as a fan of the show, because I think they absolutely botched this. Fans were extremely disappointed, said that it felt very forced. It didn't feel natural at all. So the special could have been not only having these people on and talking about, what it was like, but there was a huge missed opportunity when Miley Stewart in the show finally reveals that she is Hannah Montana. There were characters that weren't in that last season that didn't get to see, we didn't get to see their reactions to the reveal. I would have loved to see Tracy's reveal that Hannah Montana, one of her best friends, is actually this girl, Miley Stewart. I would have loved to see the two mean girls who were also, I don't know the actresses' names, I'm sorry, but the two mean girls, Amber and Ashley, from their high school, I would have loved to see their reaction. The girl they used to pick on is Hannah Montana, right? And they were huge Hannah Montana fans. They knew that. So there was a lot of missed opportunities. I want to know from the cast themselves how they think their characters would have reacted if they didn't get a live reaction on the show. And there were a lot of reasons to do certain things, and they said they kind of threw the last season together. They had it written where Miley took off the wig in the first episode of season 4. And then it turns out that the merchandising side got really upset because it was set to air before Halloween, and they didn't want people to not dress as Hannah Montana for Halloween. Because
I mean, that's what this
revealed.
whole thing feels like, a gigantic merch push and marketing
Right,
push.
right.
Like the articles that were talking about it were framing it around the engagement that it got. So it said that the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special got 6.3 million views in its first 3 days. The marketing push behind the special was gigantic, with more than 250 brands getting in on the anniversary via user-generated content, events, and activations. Content collections and consumer products. Disney's own ads generated 440 million total impressions and drove more than 30 million engagements on social media. The teaser for the special alone got 120 million views within the first 24 hours.
It got a lot of views, but again, it played on the nostalgia, and it played on Miley's gonna dress up as Hannah Montana again, and you get to watch it. And so many people were so very disappointed. I don't know if you pulled it up yet, but there's a tweet that we have from a fan of
I had the
the
one,
show.
this one?
Where she said that it just wasn't good.
Yeah.
It just was not very
Well,
good.
this one said no hate, but what was the reason why they didn't include the cast in the special? It makes
right,
zero
because
sense.
the only cast member they really included outside of special guest stars was Billy Ray Cyrus, who played her dad on the show and also is her dad in real life. And so there was that dynamic. It was a lot of her mom, which was super, super weird because her mom wasn't on the show. Now, I know her mom was on set quite a bit. That's Tish Cyrus. I know she was on the set quite a bit, but I don't know. It felt very lackluster. It felt very forced. And I think there was an opportunity to do something so good and make the merchandise much better, and to build out this entire thing where you do maybe 3 or 4 episodes where you build out, here's season 1, like 4 episodes where you go over every season and you talk to the cast members about it. And if you really have to, you send out someone to Emily Osment, you send someone out to Mitchell Musso, you say, okay, you know what, I know you're on the set. We're here on the set of the show she's doing now is Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage or something like that, which is a spinoff.
George and Mindy?
Mandy's.
Mandy?
It's a spinoff from Young Sheldon, which is a spinoff of Big Bang Theory. So it's a spinoff of a spinoff, and it stars Emily Osment. And they could have sent one or two people, a cameraman and an interviewer, out there to be like, "Hey, tell us about Hannah Montana first season. How was it? You were very young. You guys grew up on this show together." They could have sat down with her for 30 minutes about each of the seasons, because Emily Osment, who plays Lily, was such a big part of that show. She was Hannah's best friend and Miley's best friend. Now, she knew her secret, right? The first episode is Lily, do you want to know a secret? And there was a lot of really cool things they could have talked about. Every episode of Hannah Montana is named after a famous song. And they play on, like, Lily, do you want to know a secret? That's, I can't remember the parody of it, but like Judge Me Tender is one of them.
Do you think a big part of this is that it just feels kind of hollow?
I think so. I think
cash grab hollow.
I think they kind of threw it together. Miley basically said on the red carpet, like, yeah, we're going to work on Hannahversary. And then Disney was like, we are? And she's like, we are. And
sometimes they do that just to, like, speak it into existence.
That's what she did. That's what she said. She said in an interview that's why she did it. And I was super... How old are the people? I'm seeing chat. How old are the people that watch Hannah Montana? I will be 28 in a couple weeks. So it came out when I was 7, and now I am 27. And again, this was one of my favorite shows. I have gone back and tried to find on Google all the toys and stuff I got over the years. I found an old picture the other day. I've been going through some of my old stuff, and I found a picture of me at Christmas with a Hannah Montana coloring book. Like, I was a big fan of Hannah Montana at the time. And it's very disappointing to see that, when I think there's other ways to do a retrospective or to do a rewatch and Jason Earls is doing that, and I love it. I've been watching it, and honestly, it's like, it's made for people that watched it growing up, and so they're speaking to adults now, and they know that, and they're talking like they're talking to adults now, which I like because they still go over the show.
I don't want... So there's a lot of shows that I loved that have people do rewatch podcasts, and I can't listen to it. I tried to listen to the Lost Girl rewatch with Anna Silk, who's the lady who actually starred in the show. Couldn't do it. I tried to listen to the one from Emily Deschanel. I couldn't do it. I actually don't...
Do you think it's better with not a leading character doing it, but like a...
I don't want any opinions from people involved in the show. I would rather hear the opinions of people that have nothing to do with it than hearing it from the opinions of the people that do.
What I like about Best of Both Our Worlds is that they give you kind of the background, what happened. They go through, like, I remember this, I remember that. They take fan questions, and I think it's really like underrated. It only has like 5K. If you are a Hannah Montana fan, you know, I'm sure there's some of you out there. You should go.
Maybe
I'm sure,
not watching right now, but
somewhere down the line, if you guys are here and you or your kids were a Hannah Montana fan, I would recommend Best of Both Our Worlds with Jason Earls. It's really on the ground now. Like if I were to submit a question, they'd probably read it. That's how like little this thing is right now. And they had the girl who played Tracy on. And there was also another girl or another lady who played Roxy, who was like a security guard, and she was hilarious. People loved her. She didn't go out either. So it was really lackluster. It was really disappointing. And as someone who's a big fan and wanted the best for it, I still appreciate that they brought it back to the set. There's things I appreciate about it, but I still think ultimately it fell short of everyone's expectations, and it fell short of what it could have been. So for me, the way I would have done it, I totally would have brought back other cast members, talked about what it was like to get, you know, how long was the process of auditioning? I think it was like 11 months, they said, for Miley specifically, and they almost didn't go with Miley Cyrus. So stuff like that, interesting. The stuff I don't really care about is would Miley today pick Jesse or Jake? And if you know the show, you know what I'm talking about. That's stupid. And then it caused a whole problem with this actor's wife, and that was dumb. So there's just a lot of stuff that's been going on kind of behind the scenes, and I was wildly disappointed as a diehard. I would say I was a diehard Hannah fan back in the day. So
okay. Sethington Media has just joined as a channel member. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi, Seth.
Thank you.
He's an OG in the chats there. He's been around for a minute. Hey, Seth, how's it going?
I was like, there are so many that I see every day, but thank you so much, Seth, for joining. We appreciate it very much. And now you can use the emojis, including chair. There is now a chair emoji. Thank you, Shane H. Wilder, so much for putting that on there. We appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, I didn't send you the cringe, did I? Oh no, I did. We're safe. I did send you the cringe.
Yes,
right?
I have. Yeah. Oh,
it just hit me, and I was like,
it's a jump scare just to open it.
You married me. What do you want?
Oh man! All right, let's. You know what? Let's do cringe first. It's a jump scare. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why you do this to me. All right, let's watch the cringe of the day here, folks. Here we go.
Hi, I'm your fairy godmother, and I'm here to tell you that you are perfect and you can do whatever you want in life. I'm a rabbit. Bunny, 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 daddy, daddy.
It's not nearly as diabolical as my other cringes, but it's still pretty bad. Like it's not nearly as diabolical as some of the other ones that I have subjected everybody to. But
I mean, Billy Porter would have been better.
Sorry. You know, what can I say? You're welcome, you guys. I love that for you guys. It made me jump scare, full disclosure. I jump scared. But there you go. You're welcome, everybody.
Thank you for that. All right, cute of the day. And we've got two today because I have to apologize. I don't remember if I showed this one or not. I'm usually pretty good about not hearting the responses that have until they've been shown on the channel. So I apologize, Heather Blues, if I did not get to this one earlier. But if I did, then I guess you get to see the kitty twice. Yay. Pookie, 1.5 years old, crazy kitten.
Hi, Pookie. I think we have done Pookie before because I remember saying my uncle had a dog named Pookie.
Okay.
But that's okay. I'll see Pookie again 10 times over.
Perfect.
Justice
all right.
for Pookie.
And we do have a second one here from Nicole. Sorry for the trash, but Apps the doc. He is Yorkshire Terrier mix. With a Shih Tzu. He is so cute, and he is getting ready to move his mom. My niece is in medical school. I'm proud.
Oh, hi, little buddy. Oh my gosh, he looks like this dog we used to watch. Do you remember at my Nana's thing we talked about the dog Joey that we like had on and off for like years on end?
Yes, the family.
The one that was actually blind, and we just thought he was dumb. Yeah, we thought this dog was stupid.
They think that about me sometimes.
He was blind. Our bad. But like we used to make fun of this dog for being dumb, and it turns out the dog was blind, but
Pookie's
looks like
very
Joey.
Cute.
They're both very, very cute. What was the dog's name again? Did you say?
I just closed it out.
I don't see it. I don't see a name. I could be wrong.
But thank you for submitting, Nicole. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
It was a very cute puppy. And remember, guys, if you want to tag me in the posts on X, at Brett Dasovic on X, and then use the hashtag PCCPets. I'm still working my way through my initial request for pictures of your pets, trying to go one at a time. So go ahead and do that, and we will get them featured on the show here. Okay. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Taylor Swift is back in the news. It feels like it's been forever since we've had reason to talk about her, but Taylor Swift is back in the news because she is being sued. Ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Swift is being sued by a Vegas performer for trademark infringement over The Life of a Showgirl. She's facing a new lawsuit over her album, The Life of a Showgirl, which accuses the singer of trademark infringement. Filed Monday in federal court in Las Vegas by performer Marin Wade, the complaint claims that Taylor Swift titled her hit record despite being aware of its resemblance to the title of a column that Wade penned for the Las Vegas Weekly, which was called Confessions of a Showgirl, centered around anecdotes and her experiences working in the entertainment industry. The column was first published in 2014, says the document, and Wade later adapted it into a live show and book by the same name. So it has been monetized quite successfully. Wade obtained a registered trademark for Confessions of a Showgirl from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office back in 2015. The trademark eventually received incontestable status, signaling that the owner's right to exclusively use it after having done so consistently for a period of years, according to the lawsuit. When Swift later applied to register a trademark of her own for The Life of a Showgirl, the office denied her application, which is crazy work, alleging on the grounds that its title was confusingly similar to Wade's already established one, says Wade's attorney, Jamie Parkinen. They continued using it anyways, expanding it across coordinated commercial program and distributing it through retail channels, reaching millions of consumers, says the lawsuit, referring to Swift's team. It added that Wade was never contacted about the name. The lawsuit claims that Swift's album title undermines Wade's personal brand after the performer had spent more than a decade building it. There's actually probably an argument that it's going to mess with the SEO.
There could be an argument there. Look, you guys know me, and you know I'm a Swiftie, and so naturally, I must defend.
You're taking
my girl.
Taylor's
But
side.
no, look, I can understand that there may be something to it, saying like it could ruin the branding, the SEO, or whatever. But
well, they said it could lead to, it makes it confusing.
Could. But now really, I had no idea Confessions of a Showgirl was a thing. I've never heard of it in my life. Whatever. So it does nothing to me. It does nothing to a lot of Taylor Swift fans who probably didn't know this existed.
Yeah, but it does stuff to her because of,
Does it? Like, I feel like if people like her content, they will support her. I understand, but no one was. She's actually getting more exposure by people looking up Showgirl than she would have if Taylor didn't come out with this album.
The point is that phrase was unique enough at the time that if they were looking it up, they would find her stuff. Now it's going to get buried 10 pages down in search results, and you're never going to hear anything about it.
I understand why, but at the same time,
Taylor Swift has like a long history of like legal, long history of legal ramifications. It's crazy that they didn't even bother to like contact her and they actually tried to file the patent, but then got denied and went forward with it anyways. Proves to you that it was probably already in motion. They were probably already doing their branding, their marketing. They were probably already creating all of their the logos and everything for that. And it kind of proves more of what some people's critique of it is, which is that she has curated a very specific image as I'm just a girl, but she's not just a girl. She's an entire brand, and she's a ruthless businesswoman.
Yeah, look, I guess, she tried to file the trademark and it didn't work out. But The Life of a Showgirl, I don't think, is it weird? The way I see it is that this woman is trying to like trademark Showgirl in general.
So this is what it says. Swift's commercial success does not depend on the continued use of any single designation, while Confessions of a Showgirl is Wade's only trademark and the basis of her professional identity and career. It's not one mark among hundreds, the complaint said. It's the only one she has. So they're saying that
because Taylor's more successful, she can't have...
No, because this lady got to it first.
I understand why but Taylor didn't call it Confessions of a Showgirl, and that's tough.
But they said confusingly similar, not exactly alike.
Then she did... Right. And I can understand why there's a trademark. I can understand why there's this issue and why she's suing Taylor Swift. But at the end of the day, you have to know that the Swifties are not going to be kind to you. You're actually going to get more pushback and more damage done to your reputation by doing this. And I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that's what's going to happen.
That's you. You're going to be writing this lady hate mail.
I don't know. This lady, she can do what she wants. But I can tell you guys, because I know Taylor Swift and I know the lore behind the Life of a Showgirl album, no inspiration was taken from this woman. I'm just going to put that out there.
But they're not saying it's about inspiration.
No,
it's
I know, but
just
I'm
about
saying
the confusing nature of the names.
Right. And I get that. I understand that. I guess, but I can see both sides. I can see Taylor being like, well, this is the, track album. This is the album. This is the track that I'm using to title it. Because what is she going to call it? The Fate of Ophelia? No, she's not going to call it Elizabeth Taylor.
Honestly, Fate of Ophelia would have been a great name for an album.
I don't know. It's the breakout signal. No, my favorite.
Wait, what did you say the new Olivia Rodrigo album
it's
name
something
was?
like "You Seem Sad for a Girl So in Love" or something.
You
seem
like
pretty
as
sad
somebody
for
who
a
has to
girl
make
so in love.
YouTube titles every day, trying to like limit the amount of
also, it
characters
doesn't
you're
have
using.
like a good it doesn't have like a good acronym or something that you could like put together. It's just kind of like there's no good actual acronym. Look, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I can understand why this lady wants to sue her and is upset. However, I'm going to say it. I had no idea who this lady was, and I love this. This is my favorite Taylor Swift album, okay? So I will defend it more than most. I got another thing I'm gonna make you defend right now. So just to prove that you're not you're not just a consumer with 5 O's. What is your second favorite album? Because if it's the album that came out right before it, what that tells me is that all you just want it's
like
Red.
Red. Okay.
I like Red. I like Fearless. Red was probably 2012 if I had to guess. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I like all her albums.
We need Phil here today.
We need Phil here.
Couldn't be here today.
Yes, I like Life of a Showgirl. It could be because it's new and that album
Recency
came out.
bias.
That album came out right after, like within a month after our wedding, and so I kind of attribute it to that era of like freshly
was it
married.
after?
It was October 3rd,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, and we got married in September. But it was kind of like that era. We had just gotten back from our honeymoon, and we were working on, building up our life together and putting away wedding stuff and still unboxing all the gifts and all the everything, right? We were still getting registry gifts. And so I attribute it to that era of my life, which I really like. But I will say, my favorite album is probably Red. I like Fearless. It's hard because people say that.
Wait,
that
favorite album or second favorite?
Second favorite.
Second favorite. Okay.
If I had to say overall favorite, it's a tie between Life of a Showgirl and Red. I really like Red. That was like one of my favorite albums all the time, of all time, right? It's such a good album. And it's hard to pick a specific one because I'm like, okay, I love all her albums and I like certain songs of certain albums. And so it's hard because like to take a whole album, but I mean, I was listening to that album like nonstop, Life of a Showgirl, for a while.
I think these stories are the ones that kind of pull back the veil to the people who may not be like diehard Swifties, and shows that to be her level of success, you have to be a ruthless business person.
Correct.
Right?
You do, correct. And
if you look at like she's faced down lawsuits going all the way back, decades now. But like back in 2015, and some of these are unbelievably like ridiculous, where they're just suing her because it feels like they're going to be able to get some type of a payday.
I think that's what people are assuming this lady is doing.
Jesse Bram, but the thing is, they're suing her because they think that.
No, I know why, but I'm going to say like Taylor Swift fans are going to say you just want to get your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. Jesse Bram in 2016, R&B singer Jesse Bram, also known as Jesse Graham, sued Taylor Swift for $42 million in 2015, claiming that her "Shake It Off" song stole the phrase "haters gonna hate" from his 2013 album "Haters Gonna Hate." Court, of course, dismissed the claim, and the judge noting the claims had problems and the phrases were just commonplace, right? But the thing is the patent office already kind of got involved in what we're seeing here and said that Taylor Swift didn't have. So that seems like there's more basis.
No, there
for
is.
a lawsuit
but
here.
I'm just saying that given the kind of litigious people that have tried to get money from Taylor Swift, people are going to think that. But I do want to connect this to our last topic about Hannah Montana.
Okay.
Taylor Swift has written many a Hannah Montana song.
Oh.
She wrote, she was in the Hannah Montana movie, and that came up during the special or whatever. And then, as well as she wrote "You'll Always Find Your Way Back Home" from the Hannah Montana movie, which turned out to be one of the best Hannah Montana songs. So it does connect back. I'm just sitting here trying to make connections to our other stories as we can. But I will say, I understand that. Yes, we are.
Somebody in the chat says Brett's girl is a Swiftie. That's interesting. She's not just a Swiftie, ladies and gentlemen. She is also a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan.
It's funny because everyone's like, oh, like you're a conservative. I'm like, yeah, I'm a conservative. And then I say, I like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter. Now, mind you, I don't sign off on all their actions. I don't sign off on everything that they do. I like their music. Let me be very specific. She
likes their feminist music.
I do not like Sabrina Carpenter's Juno positions and being grotesque at her shows. And I really like that song, ironically enough. But I do not like a lot of what they do. Taylor a little bit more, now that she's starting to, it seems like she's settling down to get married and all that good stuff. I love that for her. And, I was very excited when her and Travis, I wasn't like crying. I'm not one of those fans that's like,
I would have been like,
you would have been like red flag, divorce papers. No, but I am not one of those that cries and like follows her religiously. I've watched the concert movies because when we were going back and forth to Minnesota for quite some time, it's the same length as the flight. And so I would know based on the song that I'm at where we are in the flight, which was very helpful. And I would sit there and crochet on the plane. So I wasn't really watching. It was like listening to music, but it was kind of fun to like see all the outfits. And I didn't go to the Eras tour.
Do you, so how often do people kind of, because you're pretty vocal about your support.
Oh, they don't like it.
So how do you, how often are you kind of called to defend your, because the same thing does happen to me in the sense that I like a lot of shows that people would end up disliking because they would call them woke. And I'm
every
just
time
like,
they come up.
Yeah, like it.
Every time.
Like, so what's your go-to like rebuttal argument?
Like first of all,
I mean, you don't even technically have to. You just be like, look, I like what I like.
Yeah, that's basically
off.
what I say is like, I don't say piss off, but I say I like Taylor Swift's music. I grew up listening to Taylor Swift, and I've evolved with her music in a lot of ways, and I tie a lot of good memories to a lot of her songs. And I like, God forbid, white girl likes white girl pop. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, that's my music taste. It's not your music taste, and that's fine. You don't even have to like the girl. But I feel like there's a lot of forced hatred with a lot of pop stars, and that's always been true. A lot of people didn't like Britney Spears and other people. There's a forced hatred, and now that there's social media, everyone has an opinion on everything, and they share their opinion on everything. I really, and I think Taylor's a pretty girl. I think Sabrina, she's a bit more fake, but she used to be very pretty, and she's still pretty, but in a different way than she was before.
We've got a $20 super chat here from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, I've been in the middle of similar IP fistfights. I suspect the discovery ends up being a, quote, they thought they could get away with it. I predict a big Brinks money truck sized pot of gold settlement at the end of this rainbow.
And good for her if that's the case. I'm not saying that Taylor Swift is inherently 100% correct or 100% not. I'm just saying that, good for this girl, but it goes to the broader conversation where every time I do at least try to, and I try to rationalize both sides of things. That's something I've always done. I will look at both sides. And I think people do get really upset with, like, I say I like Taylor Swift, and they assume it's kind of like in politics. You say you support, let's say someone says, oh, I support some of Trump's policies, and they think worst of the worst, you're, this and that. Same thing with Taylor Swift fans. Oh, so you're just you're a Swiftie who, you say F the patriarchy, and I'm like, no. First of all, there's context to the lyric, even though it's still a stupid lyric because she has him like yell it or whatever, and that's not, I don't agree with that. I didn't pay $1 million to go and see the Eras tour. I checked what the prices were the day before when I was still living in Michigan, just curious, right? Maybe they'd go down $1,000 for nosebleeds. I'm not paying that. That's ridiculous. I don't care if I have $1 million. I'm not going to pay $1,000 to sit in the nosebleeds of a concert. If I have $1 million, I can go to the concert if I want to, but and I just think that people get very entrenched about this. They have a visceral hatred, especially people that watch football. They've gotten very mad that Taylor Swift gets shown, and I understand why. I understand it's like not what you want to see, but you're a grown man whining about a woman being shown on, like Taylor Swift being shown at her boyfriend's game. Yet you complain about feminism and people not wanting to like get married, yet she's going and supporting her man with the family, and I like that idea.
Those aren't necessarily at the same, those are two arguments that aren't necessarily right next to each other, though.
But people get
those
mad.
Those are at different intersections.
Right, but people still get upset about that, and I'm like, end of the day, it's really not as important as people are making it out to be.
No, what I'm saying is that it feels almost like a non sequitur. Like, okay, so the football player the football fan who's watching, the Chiefs and has to keep being cut to.
But they would just cut to fans anyways. Like, they'd still cut to people.
The point is like, what did you say after that? You said, like, we want people to get married, and she's promoting.
But I like that she's there with his family. Like, the way I look at it is like, yes, they're showing Taylor Swift. That might be annoying to people that don't like her. But
the football fan isn't thinking about marriage rates and stuff, though. They're just annoyed because more time is being dedicated.
I mean,
to
it's
this
still
than
time that would be dedicated to not football anyways, right? That's time that they're not going to be showing what's going on. They show her celebrating that Travis got a touchdown. Again, I know it's not always the same thing. I know it's not inherently the same thing, but it's the idea that people will hate Taylor Swift. Not because she's a woman, but just to hate Taylor Swift. Because it's cool to hate Taylor Swift.
I think they feel, in a way, that it's too hyper manufactured.
And I understand that, and I think there was this era of like it was new, and so people were showing it more on the cameras. Now, mind you, they were told to do that. The studios they all work for were like, show Taylor, show Taylor, show Taylor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They feel so. It's kind of the same thing kind of happens in pro wrestling when the company gets behind someone a lot. They start putting them on camera more, and there's this understanding from diehard fans of the industry that this is who the company wants you to support now, and people start rejecting it because they feel like it's getting pushed on them.
They wanted more people to support the Chiefs, so it was kind of turning it on its head. They wanted more people to support the Chiefs. If they show Taylor 3 more times, more Swifties are going to tune into the game to see that. And actually, it's brought a lot of couples closer together that watch football now. Like, if it's like a Chiefs fan, they'll watch to see Taylor Swift. And they're like, man, my wife's actually into football now. This is awesome. Taylor's very into football now. And I know that because I watched her little, like, mini-series. And again, I'm not a diehard Swiftie that's like, I would spend $10,000 on a man.
Okay,
No.
I think you're still a diehard Swiftie. You're just not that.
I'm not a visceral, like, rabid fan.
It's okay. You can be a diehard Swiftie.
I love Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I have no shame. I'm gonna look for. I love Taylor Swift. I like Sabrina Carpenter. I have no shame in saying that. And I'm a conservative because guess what? Those things can all be true and still not mean that I co-sign their politics or anything like that. We're supposed to separate art from the artist in a lot of ways. I like Taylor. That's it. I'm happy she's getting married. Good for her. I know she's had a long string of relationships, and that's showbiz. That's Hollywood. That's whatever. A lot of people have had a lot more exes.
We're gonna have to bring on like an anti-Taylor Swift person someday and have you debate.
We could bring on Colonel Kurtz one day. We could
do that.
But the thing is, my defense of Taylor Swift is that I like her music, and I like her.
You and Kurtz have talked about Taylor Swift on the show.
We have,
right?
and she knows that I like Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
and she knows. And shout out to Colonel Kurtz, you guys. She's been very busy and unable to be on PCC, but she is a friend
We miss her here.
personally of ours and of the channel, and so we love her. You guys should still go check out her channel for when she's unable to do this stuff. Go support her. But yeah, I like their music. I like their music. I'm not saying I like them as people. I like their music, much in the way that I still liked Miley Cyrus's music when she was off doing who knows what, okay? And I like, I like certain music. I'm sorry. Like, no, I'm not. Why am I apologizing? I'm doing the Midwest I'm sorry, where, like, I don't really actually mean it, but I'm like, oh, sorry that I like it, like the sarcastic sorry. But I really do. I enjoy their music. I like pop music. I grew up on One Direction. That was, like, my big thing. So, don't like what I like, but that doesn't mean you have to sit there and rapidly type on your keyboard about how angry you are that a white girl likes Taylor Swift. Like, it's okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about body image issues going on in Hollywood. This is a topic that in a lot of ways ends up being omnipresent. Within the industry specifically, there's always these stories coming out from various celebrities. Most of the time these days, it's female celebrities who talk about awful things that were said to them on the set of a movie or a television show where they were instructed to fix something about themselves. It's always framed as some form of oppression, but the story we have today is kind of that specifically. Lily Reinhart says that a male director came up to me on set and said to, quote, just suck in your stomach, a little bit. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because we've also got this epidemic going on right now of Ozempic in Hollywood, which is becoming more and more common every day. But this is what the article says. It says Riverdale and Forbidden Fruits actor Lily Reinhart recently took place in a video interview for Cosmopolitan magazine and revealed that a male director once told her to, quote, suck in her stomach a little bit in between takes. She did not reveal the director's name. They never do. They never want to actually reveal who it was that said something like this. She was joined by her Forbidden Fruits co-stars Lola Tung and it's Victoria Pedretti and Alexandra Shipp. Reinhart was asked to name the, quote, acting note that she took personally. She did not hesitate to answer. She says, when I had a male director come up to me and silently lean over and go, quote, suck in your stomach a little bit. The revelation prompted gasps from the Forbidden Fruit cast, with Pedretti saying, oh my God, what is his name and what is his address? Time for a hex, When Reinhart said that she would tell her castmates who the director's name was off air, Shipp said, tell me the name, say his name. She spoke openly over the years about her battle with body dysmorphia. She developed an eating disorder as a result while playing Betty Cooper on the CW show Riverdale. This is another quote. I really don't like looking at season 6 imagery or pictures because I know that 99% of my thoughts were about my body, she said to Self magazine last year. Quote, I was 1,000% just disassociated through the entire day or scene because my entire inner monologue, my entire inner dialogue is just your body is changing. She made headlines back in 2023 as well, saying, I wish there were more average-sized arms represented in mainstream media for women.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. My body dysmorphia has been going crazy because I feel like my arms need to be half the size they are currently. We've glamorized these skinny arms that for most of us can only be achieved if you're literally an adolescent.
Okay. First of all, if you're going through body dysmorphia, that is a very real thing for a lot of people. I was once a teenage girl. Okay, I know, but it's not the fault of your director who is trying to achieve a certain standard.
Yeah, there's a visual. So film, movies, and television, it's a visual medium, and they have specific looks that they want to achieve within a show. I saw this post from the Critical Drinker, and it made me laugh. He says, do you have any idea what these guys had to put themselves through to look like this? But no, just being asked to suck in your gut for a few seconds was clearly far worse.
And Riverdale wasn't really my thing, and I'm sitting here flapping my arm because I'm like, okay, like really, that's what you're so concerned about? Like, I mean, I have skinnier arms too, and I still have a little bit because y'all, I don't really live. I plan on getting back into working out. In the next couple weeks we'll have some stuff going on, some changes, but once I get down to a routine, it'll be good, and we'll be able to, I'll be able to work out again. We have weightlifting stuff at home. I should just do it, but I don't, because I go in the office and I'm like, oh, I should craft instead of, oh, I should lift weights. So maybe we'll do it together. That'll be like I'll get my own little weights and we'll do it together. But I understand, and I'm not going to discredit her necessarily for the body dysmorphia that she probably developed, not as a result of the show, but just some kind of mental whatever. I'm not one that's to advocate normally to go to therapy all that often, but stuff like that where it can actually affect your health, you should, seek out those resources.
Meaning body dysmorphia.
Yeah, go seek out those resources to take care of yourself, to make sure you're getting the right nutrients, and there is a way. Now, mind you, most women have a little bit of a stomach pouch, and that's because we create life. We create life. You can still suck it in. You're still going to see it a little bit, but you can see where, I have it too. Not like a big pouch, but I have a little bit where one day when we decide to start a family, that will protect my organs and the baby. And that's not a bad thing. But it is a visual medium. So to say, suck it in a little bit. First of all, I suck it in just walking around sometimes. Like, I don't really I used to, but ever since getting married, I felt like wearing anything cropped is I don't know, I just don't do it anymore.
Well, I always make the joke on the show. I say crop tops are actually like a cultural flex now because everybody's fat. So
well, and I used to wear them, but and you've never asked me to not. I just feel like I'm gonna be 28 soon, getting close to 30, and I just feel like it's a more mature thing to wear something that is more becoming, right? And there was a time where I used to wear a lot of crop tops and short shorts and all that, but now I tend to wear, if it's not a romper that covers most of my legs, It's you know, a shirt with jeans, even in the summer.
So there was more to this as well, because there was a quote from a couple of years ago from Kate Winslet, who is I'm talking about this because Kate Winslet has her thoughts on Ozempic, which is of course a craze now in Hollywood. It says these days Winslet doesn't succumb to the pressure to look a certain way, whether by Ozempic or by other means. This is a quote: "I take pride in looking less than perfect because it is my life on my face and that matters," she told Harper's Bazaar, recalling a moment on set when a producer asked her to sit up straight to flatten her belly. "It wouldn't occur to me to cover that up." Her advice for young women navigating the Ozempic era is to celebrate being a real shape, being soft, and maybe having a few extra rolls. I mean, she could have also said maybe go to the gym and achieve a specific look through actual work, but it seems like there's like only two modes in Hollywood. One mode is to take the drugs to look a specific way, and the second mode is to just look however you look without putting any effort in, and then just telling the world they have to accept that.
Right, and I do think that there is something, I don't want to say like being overweight is healthy. I want to say there is something about normalizing that not every woman looks like a supermodel is a good thing. Like, there are going to be people...
But that's not what Hollywood is for.
No, I know, and I understand that.
Hollywood is not for finding the most normal-looking people. This is why the men go out of their way to get absolutely jacked to play superheroes, and where the conversation comes between men and women when it comes to superhero roles, which is that when men watch a superhero movie, whether they're looking at Wolverine or Captain America or even Tom Holland, who looks tiny but is jacked as well. So the point is, men look at that and they see that as an aspirational goal for them to reach, because they're like, this is awesome, I wish I looked like a freaking superhero. But the general cultural discourse when it comes to women in that space is that they want to know why the female superhero doesn't look like them. They want to be represented by a female superhero who's supposed to look average, but superheroes aren't supposed to look average. And this doesn't just have to be about superheroes. In general, being a visual medium means you're looking to create an aesthetic that is pleasant to look at. You're looking to escape reality visually. So it's not really the place of a director to acquiesce to an actor's desire. Now, there is something to be said if you're playing a character that is, they're in their 40s, they've been through it, they haven't kept up in their head. Yeah, whatever. The point is, actors love that shit. There's a reason why Christian Bale would shrink and lose a bunch of weight for roles and then put on a bunch of muscle to play Batman, right? The whole point there is they love finding the truth of that character, but that director's desire to reach a certain visual aesthetic isn't wrong. And her complaint doesn't make her look virtuous because it's framed as a sexist ideal when it's not. It's just a visual decision.
It sounds like a cry for help, honestly. Like, she's like, I have body dysmorphia. Like, girl, go get help, right? That's kind of my reaction. But I will say, I'm not sure is there a space for normal looking people? Is that just everyday life, right? That's just everyday life. You see normal looking people. I mean, I don't promote overweight and obesity
in television and movies too, but a director doesn't have to co-sign that at every turn.
Right.
I was telling a story yesterday about, I laughed because I'm being honest, for Hollywood in general, if you go watch your average like network television show, you will be surprised at how many of those dudes are in unbelievable shape. I was telling the story yesterday. It's like this middle-aged dude. He's playing like an ACLU lawyer in an old episode of Bones who got punched in the ribs, and they have to pull his shirt up, pull this middle-aged dude's shirt up to show the bruises, and the dude is absolutely just washboard abs. And the point is, that he is in a visual medium. His point on the show is to be in front of the camera to look as good as possible, because there might always be a time where he's going to be asked to take his shirt off.
Right. And I'm laughing right now because with Brett's voice going in and out, he has been for the last couple days.
Is it going?
No, but you said abs, and
I'm not gonna
don't do it. He's been parodying the Honest trailers when they're like abs, and he's been doing it at home. And you guys, last night he kept doing it, and I just shot him a look, and he was like, "Sorry." So when he said abs, that's why I was like, "Don't do it." I mouthed, "Don't do it," because I just thought he was gonna say it. So,
I wouldn't have until you. It's
a very rare look into our private life here, but it did make me laugh because he was doing that. look, I understand, right? There's, especially when you're like a lead character, because she played like the lead girl in that show. You should be pretty and be skinny, and that's okay. If you don't think you can do that, that's a different conversation you need to have. But I think, yes, I am pretty normal size. Like, I'm pretty, not normal size. I'm skinny, right? Like, I'm pretty, I've been wanting to lose a little bit of weight. In the winter, I just gain more weight. Everyone does that. But I've been wanting to lose a little bit of weight, get a little bit more fit, and it's more for myself and the fact that I want my body to be prepared when we start to have kids to handle that. I want to strengthen myself for that. Not because I need to, but because I want to.
Visually speaking, though, like how you look in at one angle could be vastly different from another. So it could be as simple as wanting to maintain visual continuity.
True.
Now, this is also true of like the of the men who play roles in the MCU, where if you look really closely in some of the movies, they will look different from shot to shot because they're at various stages of fitness. Because like they would talk, like Anthony Mackie and Chris Evans would talk about how depending on the scene, so if everybody remembers in Captain America Winter Soldier, or I'm sorry, in Captain America Civil War, when Winter Soldier is flying the helicopter and he's trying to get away, and Chris Evans and Captain America literally grabs the base of the helicopter and then the bar on the building and pulls it in. You literally see his shirt like basically ripping from the muscles on his body, and that's all real. And what he was saying was that he literally was like these actors would be doing reps right before going to shoot it because it would give them a pump. And make their arms more defined on camera. I can't look at that level of commitment and then be like, what this director's asking is unreasonable. I can't.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't think that it's unreasonable at all. I think that her playing the victim here, it's just another example of people trying to use, like we talked about this on Tuesday, being a woman as a like cop out for whatever you're feeling. And look, I don't care if you're a woman or a man, like get over it. Get over yourself. Get over it.
Well, it's your job.
It's your job. Yeah. But it's also frustrating. Like every time they make it about somehow it's sexist or what, there's a standard for men as well, and they don't complain about it. That's the thing. It's always women complaining about it, and so I get it.
They also pointed out, they said the director didn't like look up over the camera and yell this at her. He said it to her in private. He didn't embarrass her. He gave her a note.
Yeah, and that's different too. So I would agree with that, guys. Give us more super chats. Give us more to talk about. Give us more questions. We would love that. Sorry, I just decided to say it.
The other thing that I thought was funny was like I saw this other article about the before and after pictures of millennial celebrities now that Ozempic is a thing, and that's really the truth of the matter. Body positivity has died and gone to heaven. Or hell, I guess. Body positivity has gone to hell.
Yeah.
Because there is now a cheat code to get skinny. You do not have to actually be in good shape. You do not have to actually do the work to get into good shape. And that's the real crux of the matter, which is that there has to be a middle ground between Kate Winslet saying, like, you should just embrace who you are, the way you are, and the idea here of, like, you should use Ozempic to get skinny. No. You can do the work yourself, and you will feel better about yourself. Lily Reinhart, who's already looks pretty skinny to begin with, would feel better about herself by working out to look a specific way as opposed to using Ozempic to look a specific way. And I swear, my X account is like, I don't know if this is happening to anybody else. Now that I see ads on X, I like blocked Serena Williams because I didn't stop getting ads from her, and they still show up.
And they're still the Ozempic ads, right?
Yeah, like I muted her so I wouldn't, and I'm getting tons of Serena Williams ads.
I get them too on YouTube. I get them. You know what? I get targeted ads.
I mean, hers aren't
GOP.
Ozempic though. I'm just
getting Row or whatever it's called.
Well, hers are for that and a bunch of other stuff.
But I get a bunch of GLP-1 ads all the time, mind you guys. I am 115 soaking wet, right? Like I am 5 feet tall. I do not weigh a lot. But I think this speaks to the lack of accountability in culture today that we see. So, like, instead of being like, you know what, I have been not eating the best or working out or whatever, I'm going to try to work out, be in a calorie deficit, take care of my body. Instead, they say, I'm going to take this injection and it'll make me not eat as much because I don't have the willpower to say no, which is a different problem in and of itself if you can't manage that. So I firmly
and then
believe
if you stop, you haven't developed any of the good habits that go along with
And so it's really a lazy way to try to get skinny. I have more respect for the people on my 600-pound life that go and try to lose the weight by going on these diets, and they start to actually do it, and they get in these good habits, and they stay in those good habits. I don't know if you've seen Tammy from my 600-pound life that went on to do 1,000-pound sisters. Her weight loss has been insane because she's put in the work and the habits to do it. So, I mean, her transformation is crazy. And so it's really sad. And this goes to, again, the bigger conversation of people not holding themselves accountable or their actions accountable. Oh, teehee, I'm a woman, I'm so silly. Instead of saying I messed up, or, you know, it is my job, or I take accountability for this. So I don't understand why people, I don't get it.
So I get annoyed because it feels like these are just like, you don't have a traditional job. Like, everybody who works ends up getting some type of performance review or notes from their manager or their boss. You just happen to have chosen a profession that involved a visual medium, right? If you were an accountant, you might get notes. If you weren't getting done, you know, if you worked for an accounting firm and you had contracts with people and you weren't getting your work done on time, or your work was shoddy, you're going to get notes about it. The only difference is this seems more salacious because it's tied into what I guess is being framed as sexism because it was a male director, when it is not that.
I wonder what would happen. Say it's a female director. Like, what happens then? Does the female director even say that, or do they send that off so that they don't have to be accountable for what they're saying? Do they say, hey, talk about this with Lily today because I don't want to be the one to do it because it makes me look like a mean girl? Like, it is weird to think about.
The thing
that.
is, the women who are ruthless enough to make it in Hollywood will have the same oftentimes. So directors, it's a little bit different. So from everything that I've learned, female directors are considered to be more collaborative. Male directors are considered to be more dictatorial, which is a lot of times most people consider to be necessary. A director's job is to bring across a specific vision, and that isn't always necessarily beneficial with somebody that's highly collaborative. But women will have to adopt at least some of the ruthlessness that men in Hollywood will do so, because it's required if you want to make it in the business.
Right.
You can't nice girl your way to a necessarily the highest level of success.
Makes sense.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. I thought this was funny, and we'll get into this one. You'll laugh at this one. It says, this is an article. It says, most men over 40 are deeply unattracted to these 10 things that Gen Z finds extremely hot about women. And this guy just, first of all, looks really sad.
He just looks. Yeah.
So it says most men over 40 are deeply unattracted to these 10 things that Gen Z finds hot. Number one being nonchalance.
So, like, being nonchalant and not caring.
And I dislike that too. I think we need a world with far more chalance.
I believe so.
I do not, you know what, caring, one of the reasons they were talking about a movie like Top Gun Maverick being successful and then now Project Hail Mary being successful is they have an unbelievable amount of sincerity, and one of the ways you achieve sincerity is you have to have chalance. You can't pretend like you don't care. Like, we're over the whole I'm above it all.
Well, and I think it comes off as uncaring and like, oh, I'm just so
But they're saying Gen Z is into this. So it says...
I'm not. Okay, now, you guys, context is important here.
Well,
Brett is millennial and I'm Gen Z, so I'm curious to see how many of these things I might be a part of. I don't think I'm nonchalant.
It says, being nonchalant has become a dating trend for Gen Z people across the board. Many of them have a misguided notion that people who pretend not to be interested in someone or play hard to get are more attractive and admirable than someone who wears their emotions on their sleeves, even if their nonchalance is simply a way to act casual and engage in situationships. So bad behavior in general.
See, I was not, and Brett was not. Neither of us were ever nonchalant and dismissive and acting like we weren't interested.
I'm a chalant person.
we were both very upfront. Because I don't like. Why are we playing mind games? Like, this is why the marriage rates are so low.
I've never understood I understood the evolutionary idea behind playing hard to get, because it artificially increases your status and helps a person theoretically make the decision that they're choosing the most the best mate for them, I guess. by finding someone who's harder to get. I get it, but it also makes no sense at all in current year. Number 2 is a hyper-curated aesthetic. Of course, this is driven by the fact that we live in an Instagram culture, and we live in a culture where everything is not just about what you actually like. It's about sharing it with the world. It says, driven by status and a desire for external validation from others or on social media, it's not surprising that a hyper-curated, trendy aesthetic is something many young people find attractive today. From seeking large followings on social media to trying every trending style, young people want to be associated with people who have a curated vibe or aesthetic that improves their own self-image.
I don't get it either. Like, I wear what I like to wear, and I really like the color pink, so, like, my home studio is super pink. But that's not really, like, I just like the color, and I like how it looks. I mean, I can understand, like, the aesthetics of a studio or whatever, so maybe that's different. But, no, I'm not super aesthetic. Someone who is very aesthetic is Mary. Mary is very specific in, like, how she presents herself, right? She is an aesthetic. Like,
but that's
I'm not
part
saying
of
she's, like, hyper-curated. I'm saying that's
but
what
generationally, that makes perfect sense.
Right, exactly. And I'm elder Gen Z. Mary's a few years younger than me, and so it would make sense. I'm not as much into that. It'd be interesting to see what she says about, like, the hyper-curated, because she is that way, and it works for her. She pulls it off very well.
Aesthetic to me is just one of those, and guys, it's like no dude is going to be no
dude's gonna be like, love your aesthetic, babe.
Well, no dude is going to be okay. Not no dude. Most dudes are not like focused on aesthetic unless they're hyper online on Instagram and looking to grow a following of that site. You know, it's kind of like, you know what the ultimate example of aesthetic was? Who was the celebrity that posted 3 black squares because they didn't want their Instagram feed to just have 1 black square?
Oh, I don't remember who that was. I remember what you're talking about, though, because it was a very specific...
Somebody in the chat will know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you guys know, please tell us. Yeah, and then we already talked about number 3 a little bit.
Yeah, playing hard to get. And somebody pointed out the real reason behind that is... I guess in the evolutionary sense, it would be about like making sure a dude isn't just going to give up right away.
Sure.
It tests their resilience.
But like, there's playing hard to get in a way of like testing the waters, and then there's playing hard to get where you come off uninterested and kind of just, again, nonchalant and not caring, and like you aren't interested. And so it's one thing to play hard to, I don't know, like, but hard to get also like... I don't know. To me, it comes off like you think you're better than the person, and so they're not able to attain you.
Nobody's communicating, so you just end up passing each other by, and you miss out on all these opportunities because you were either worried that you would seem too eager. Like, you remember, like, how often have you seen, like, a TV show or a movie where characters are talking and they say something like, should I call them back right away? Or should I wait? Because you don't want to appear too desperate. Like, that, again, you're already overthinking
And
everything.
Feminism has made it worse, in my opinion. Like, you're a girl boss. You don't need to, like, you can make him wait for you. Girl, if you like the guy, go for it. Come on. Like, don't, like, life's short. Don't waste your time.
Here's another one. Overusing therapy speak. According to a study published by the Theoretical Medicine and Bioethics Journal, therapy speak such as "you're gaslighting me" or, quote, "I'm protecting my peace" is sometimes used to discredit people, evade personal accountability, and seek status amongst young people today. Well, yeah, like if somebody you know is talking about how their ex is a toxic narcissist, all you have to look at is how many of their exes are suspiciously toxic narcissists.
Or they gaslit them constantly. And I always have to say, whenever something actually is gaslighting, I have to be like, I don't ever say, like, I have to caveat it now because of how much Gen Z uses it. I have to be like, no, like, actually gaslit, like, not this like therapy speak, gaslit, like legitimately gaslit, or I'm protecting my peace, or safe spaces, or whatever it is. I'm so sick of that. And maybe it's
like the word trauma, which has been overused to mean basically my parents said no to me sometimes.
And so they traumatized me. Like, shut up. This next one's funny too because it relates to to the Gen Z we know.
Inconsistent texts and calls.
Yes.
While dating apps have made finding a partner easier for many people, it's made finding a partner easier for women.
Yeah.
Regardless of their age, older men may be tired of inconsistent texts and calls. For younger generations seeking comfort a lot of the time, the chase of someone playing hard to get over text, whether it's conscious or not, might be thrilling. However, for older men who are often more interested in easy connections and in-person conversations, it's draining and unattractive, regardless of who they're speaking with. In general, many older men who are used to traditional dating timelines and in-person connections are tired of the online dating scene, especially when dealing with someone who struggles to respond to texts and prefers to get to know someone online. It can be draining and lead to disinterest.
Goes with hard to get, right? You can just think like they don't want to talk to me or they don't want to be my friend.
Here's another one. Posting a curated lifestyle. Living in our status-driven society and struggling to find their place within a landscape of deteriorating third spaces, it's not surprising that posting images of a curated lifestyle and following every trend is desirable for young people. They want to feel seen, valued, and important, and without the tools to always create that emotional stability internally, they look to validation and external things for support. Yeah, it just seems so wasteful.
Yeah, it does. And it's an overconsumerism culture as well. There's a girl I follow online who talks about overconsumption culture. And it's interesting. So Stanleys were a big one. They end up in thrift stores. He checked. He looked over. This is like a thermos.
But you've got your Snoopy cup.
I have my Snoopy cup that my lovely husband got for me. I love my Snoopy cup. I love it. There it is. But I will say,
what's another example of
overconsumerism culture? So
or like the whenever like Starbucks would do like the limited edition product releases.
The bear cup.
Yes.
That they came out with. That was one too. Or things that are like squishies, like Neatos. That's a big one right now. There's like these Neato ball things that people really like.
Labubus.
They were horrible. Or there's a couple beauty products that become really trendy and I never get them. I have one of them and it's because someone gave it to me. So my friend Alexis gave me some makeup that she wasn't going to use anymore. And one of them was like this Summer Friday, I think is what it's called. I don't even know. And Summer Tuesday, I don't even know. Summer something. And it was like a lip gloss and I was like, oh, I always see this online. I've never gotten it before. Or the Touchland sprays. I get the dollar store spray hand sanitizer. I have one in my bag. I don't get the $10 Touchland ones. I did get it for my bridesmaid and maid of honor in their like little gift bag because that was like, a one-time whatever. I get the knockoff ones. I don't get, if I'm going to get something that I think is kind of trendy and cute, I wait for the dollar store or Dollar General to like make a dupe of it. And then I will go get it because ain't no way I'm going to be spending all that money on something like that. It's bad. Like I get it. I understand that.
Here's another one. A lack of resilience. While there's a resurgence of traditional gender views that some younger men are adopting, encouraging young women to take on a more passive, inferior role, more mature men would have a strong sense of self and belonging, aren't interested in that kind of persona. They don't need to find their importance in being a protector for women, and even if they are somewhat traditional, a lack of resilience isn't attractive. This goes to, I'm just a girl.
Yes, and I say that jokingly all the time to bribe.
This goes to like, whoops, I hit a curb. I can't do this today. I'm just a girl.
Taking days off for your mental health.
Yeah.
And
but this is also part of like social media culture, which is like you don't say this stuff in private to yourself. You say it online to gain an audience.
We have a joke about just a girl, right? We have a whole inside joke about that, but there is a lack of resilience today, or a lack of character building, like actual character building, resilience, things that you go through.
Yeah.
This next one, I feel a little bit called out, number 9 here.
Overusing phones and technology.
That is just something that anyone who's grown up and had technology, or someone that works like Brett is constantly working. You guys don't realize this, but like Brett really is always looking for the next story and always looking for the next thing that he can talk about on the show. And to do that would be to constantly be watching, like Twitter or X or whatever. We both do this and we try to get a lot better about it. There's days where I'm like, we should really just put our phones down and eat dinner or whatever. We both could be better. We admit that, right? We both are like, we could probably be better, but
I definitely could do better for sure.
I try to. That's why I've been crocheting a lot, and I have markets coming up like you guys know.
It's literally why skating is so important to me. Is it forces me to go out and be physically active beyond just the health benefits of skating and the mental health benefits of getting out, getting exercise. But you're away from your phone. And so some nights I do better than others.
Yeah.
It's also tied heavily to my attention span. So if I'm watching a show or a movie and I'm good about leaving my phone down. I'm not switching around as much. I'm not fast forwarding.
That's how I
as
know
much.
you're really into something if you're not on your phone that much. Like we watched Rad, and Brett like did not go on his phone, and I was like,
Well,
what
I'm
is this
locked in every
sorcery?
time I watch it.
He was so locked in, guys, and it's one of those things where, again, we could both be better about it. I don't know if that's necessarily like generational. I don't know. I mean, number 11 too is like.
Well, the thing is, like, okay,
Oh no,
so,
sorry, 10.
Yeah, so impractical expectations. Well, optimistic people who create lofty goals and visions for themselves are often more productive than rigid realists. Older men with life experience and the hardening that typically comes from hardship, it's not surprising that they find impractical expectations unattractive. So this is an interesting one. So I actually don't know if I could ever say that it's a bad thing to have impractical expectations when you're young, because it goes with the wonder that comes from not yet having the world beat you down. Like, I don't necessarily believe it's healthy for a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old to have a wholly rigid, realistic view of the world. There should be some wonder there. There should be some
Whimsy.
expectations and whimsy that the world is going to be this amazing place. If not, then when?
And to say impractical, I guess I would want to know like more of what they mean by that, because I'm sure there are people that have expectations that are impractical, but it's good to have high standards. So I'm not going to say that that's necessarily a bad
But
thing.
it does make sense that, somebody who's in their 30s or their 40s is going to be like, look, that's great, but I've lived, and that's not how the world works. But at the same time, then you make them the bad guy because they don't want to, because just because you have this kind of more realistic expectation for what the world is going to offer you does not mean that you necessarily need to bog down,
Like stifle somebody
else. They have to learn. Oftentimes, that is one of those things that falls in the category of you have to learn it on your own.
Yeah.
Like, you have to come to that conclusion by virtue of actually going through the world and having some stuff not work out for you.
Right. And then this last one also kind of goes along with some of the ones we've talked about. And I also feel like this one's kind of overreaching and being mysterious. It's the same thing as people being like, I'm really shy until you get to know me. I'm kind of mysterious until you know me better. Like, duh.
So you're a normal person.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you figure out, over time. Now, being emotionally distant and not attaching, that's different. Being mysterious, like, again, that goes with like playing games and stuff, but you do pick and choose things when you first meet someone and what you share and what you talk about. But over time, you learn to talk about more things and be open about more things and learn about more things. But that's not going to come right away. It does not come naturally, unless you're like extremely extroverted and want everyone to know everything about you. But that's very rare. So,
Yep. Olivia oftentimes points out that I'm not the most. I'm not antisocial, but I am more introverted than
definitely.
work
Like, I'll
is-
be like, we should go out and do something, and like with friends, and it's usually me making the plans and him coming with me with our friends. I will make plans with like our friends. Like, there have been people at the company, like we hung out with like Mary, Kellen, Raymond a couple times, and I would make the plans, even though like he'd be like, oh, Mary's gonna text you. I'm like, okay, and I'd make the plans with Mary and Kellen and Raymond, and then Brett would even though these are people that he probably knows a little bit better than I do, I would make the plans because I'm more motivated to do so. But I would say most of the time we get back home and you're like, okay, that I had a good time, that but
that's what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to Super Chats now. Hit the like button on the video, the episode here, please, and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, remember, guys, channel memberships are now open. Emojis galore for everybody on there. And remember, I'm going to be putting out all sorts of bonus content. I am filming a bonus episode tonight with Blabs from Side Scrollers. I'm very excited to be able to talk about everything going on with the upcoming Harry Potter series. There is a lot to talk about. We got into it a little bit earlier in the week this week, but there wasn't, the stories had kind of already come and gone because the downside of being sick last week was it was like the busiest news week ever. And of course, it had to be when I had no voice. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to be able to talk about all that stuff with her tonight. So stay tuned. I will be putting that episode up for channel members tonight as soon as we are done recording it. So be on the lookout. We're gonna go here and we had a Rumble rant here quick. I'm gonna get this one first from Broody Gambit. Says, I saw Mario Galaxy Tuesday night. I enjoyed it, but the pacing was too slow in the first half, and I felt the titular character was cast into the shadows so others could be the hero. Fox was amazing.
I'd love to know if you're actually a Mario fan or if you just like went to see it.
I mean, if they
to
went
see
on
it.
a Tuesday night, that's pretty early. You can probably assume that.
My brother's
that-
like a #1 fan. He's going Saturday, but he's also like his work schedule doesn't lend to him. Being
Yeah, it
able to
depends
do
on
it.
what their
Or
job
his friends
is,
are
so.
probably going with him or something.
Yeah. All right. Let's go over here. Let me pull them all back up here, guys. We are very dangerously close to a second crisis.
Scare me
here in the-
again, please,
Yes.
you guys. Get my blood pumping.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, "Happy Monday, Happy Monday, Holy Thursday, Happy Monday."
You
I'm
okay?
not
You
gonna
got
read it with the
religious.
the quotes or with the parentheses. Happy Monday. Thursday, Dasovics. Today is kind of rough. A meteorologist I work with passed away from a heart attack last night. Send prayers. That's awful.
I'm sorry to hear that. Like I said on X, we will pray for you and the family.
Thank you for that, Shane. And another one from Shane here. On a lighter note, in honor of Cher, re-released the Cher origin short story. Cher has lived one hell of a life. He has re-released it.
We might have to tell. We'll have to put it in writing, and one day when we have children, that'll be their bedtime
We'll
story.
write a book
is the story
about,
of Cher.
Maybe we can publish it on Amazon.
Ooh, we could.
Brian Bledsoe says, "It's the Dasovics."
It is.
That is
Hello.
correct. All right. Burned Oils says, "Olivia, can you remind Brett that he's a badass baddie?"
Hey, Brett, you're a badass baddie.
I mean,
Duh.
I'm gonna get that tattooed.
Duh.
All right. Bob Ma'am. Yes, that is an M. Double checking. Says Ed is not the sharpest knife in the block. That was about the
Ed
Ed
Krasenstein.
Krasenstein thing.
Yeah, you know.
Actually, the thing is what you're looking at is engagement bait, which means he's actually very smart.
He's stupid smart. You know what I mean? Like he's not the brightest, but he's still like, yeah.
Shane H. Wilder says dark humor is like a communist breadline. Not everyone gets it, and if you complain, it's straight to the gulag with you.
Or as Brett sent me, as the very first thing ever sent to me from Brett, dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it, and that was over a photo of Joseph Stalin.
Yep. I knew how to woo her.
He sure did.
Baron of Beef Juice, which is
I hate
that's
that.
actually my
I
middle,
really hate
it's
that.
actually my middle name.
So uncomfortable.
Says almost never get to catch the show live, but I'm on paternity leave now, so my new son and I get to watch the next couple of weeks.
Congratulations. I hope son and mother are doing well.
Does that
and
make him son of Beef Juice?
son of Beef Juice? Yes, we're happy to have you and son next couple weeks. So congratulations to the wife as well. Hope everyone's doing well.
All right. Chief Corey Anderson says Leslie Jones knew her father. I call BS. That's rude.
Corey.
That's rude.
Corey.
Shane H. Wilder says the look on Olivia's face says it all. Leslie's father raised her. Press X to doubt. You guys are being.
You guys
rude
are
today.
so rude. My shock was more that someone would say that to their child.
Yes.
Also, the fact that Leslie has a deep voice, and so at first I was like, "Who's the man?" Oh, like it literally tripped me up for a second because I don't think I've ever heard her talk.
Well, if you didn't listen to the to watch the masterpiece that was Ghostbusters 2016,
I did not.
Broody Gambit over on Rumble says, I've been playing Mario games for 34 years since I was 3.
Wow.
I still play most of the games from NES to Switch at least once a year.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's super cool. I love when people have a thing like that they're super into.
Yep.
It's so cool.
All right. No Control says 100% correct. Nobody should marry Leslie Jones.
Correct. If that's your attitude about Marison, yeah, probably.
Pop Culture Junkie says, from way back, I am a Mario fan. I occasionally like checking my brain at the door and having a good time. Everything doesn't have to be cinema. A movie occasionally can be tasty over sugared treat. Can be a tasty over sugared treat. Yes, I actually prefer if movies are tasty over sugared treats. In fact, I've never in my life gone into a movie and said, you know what? I hope this asks some like really crazy questions about the human condition. I will deal with that and approach it with shows or movies that end up asking it by accident or in a more layered fashion, but I don't go seek it out.
Right.
Shane H. Wilder says, Olivia, you guys know me, and I'm going to, and you know I'm clipping you.
It's from Call Me Daddy,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I know, and I can't wait to watch it because I said it like with my chest, which reminds me, and I'm not going to share it with you guys here, but it reminds me of another thing I've said before that was not my best moment. You'll know what it is about a restaurant. I definitely said a restaurant's name really wrong one time to Brett, and it ends in cafe.
I'm so lost.
The Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
That's I said that one.
Damn.
With my chest. You guys can figure it out now.
The Rock Hard Cafe, she said.
Guys, we were talking about themed restaurants, and I said it fully. We were like laying there in the dark too, so like I said.
I did watch a video.
Like Rainforest Cafe or the Rock.
I just watched a video the other day too about all about like the rise and fall of various themed restaurants, and they seem to fail miserably.
Oh my
Even the
God,
Rock
sorry.
Hard Cafe, as Olivia calls it.
We can't even pass one. Like we went to like Niagara Falls and we saw one, and we went in just to say we went in to the Hard Rock Cafe, and I said it, and Brett was like, the Hard Rock Cafe, and I was like, oh no. And you guys, it's one of my worst, and I said it like fully with my chest, just like I did with Call Me Daddy. And
Okay.
yeah.
Brian Bledsoe says, "Call Me Daddy" sounds like something that wouldn't pass YouTube. It wouldn't pass YouTube TOS. That's correct.
It's correct. I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat now. Everyone's hearing it now. It's
Both
live.
Sethington and Potatoes for Seamus today have joined as channel members. Thank you guys so much.
We love you, potatoes.
Potato. Shane H. Wilder says, Olivia, cringe is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Sorry. Not sorry.
S. Bud says, I'd like to submit cringe. Please let me.
You can tag me, Olivia
do that.
Dasovic.
Corey Anderson says, just like always, Taylor Swift is wrong. Olivia would dispute that.
I would say she's not always right, but she's not always wrong either. You know.
Okay. Potatoes for Seamus says, hi, hey, Brett. Hi, Mart. Olivia. Justice for Mocha. Brett.
Justice for Mocha. Mocha update, I suppose. She's good. She's hanging in there. She's going to be a even more older kitty next month. She's going to be 12. But Mocha's good. Mocha's causing a ruckus as she does. She was very awake when I left today.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, she sleeps quite a bit and she's lost most of her hearing. And so, you know, she's not always up when we are 'cause she doesn't hear us. But she's doing good, you guys. She's trucking along, derping it up. I mean, her face, like last night, so much derp.
So
Much derp.
Guys, we were getting very close to a second crisis party. We are almost there. Shane H. Wilder says, no, I'm sorry, down here. Chief Corey Anderson said that, and now Potatoes for Seamus. Now, there it is. Corey Anderson says, my wife loves Taylor Swift. I tell her Swift is bad person all the time. Now I hear Swift is responsible for Miley Cyrus too.
Not responsible. She helped create later songs, not the earlier songs.
Corey Anderson also says, don't know if I heard right, but what is a Juno position?
So,
you can go look up the Eiffel Tower if
yes,
you like.
I can. So she has a song called Juno, and then says like, "Let it try," blah blah blah. And there's like a little lapse before she does the chorus again. It's in like the bridge or whatever, like end of one of the. And she always does some sexual position, and it's so I don't appreciate that, but that's okay. Again, art and artist.
All right, Corey Anderson. No, Brett. Potatoes for Seamus says, Brett, OC secretly moonlighting as Taylor Swift promoters.
Yeah. Sorry to burst your guys' bubble, but here we are. We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. It just popped up on my end if you want me to read it.
Go for it.
Okay, we have it from Pop Culture Junkie. It's my Mario origin story. For Christmas, my girlfriend gave me a Nintendo with Mario cartridge. I thought it was so kind until I realized it was because she played it all through college and she would kick my ass. I never won.
Well, were you dating Brie Larson?
Yeah,
That's the story I was reading about.
Good. You know what? Good for you. It's still a fun thing to bond over shared activity. So it's good.
All right. S. Bud says, I still bop to R. Kelly. Look, Gotham City, the song still goes pretty hard.
There's a couple R. Kellys where I'm like, oh.
It's the remix to Ignition.
Yep, that's one of them.
Grolgar says, women have body dysmorphia from CW show. Look at Supernatural and how many shirtless Arrow salmon ladders. Yes, so pretty much all of Arrow is Oliver Queen shirtless working out all the time.
That is true. That's very true.
Yes, and that was a lot of it, especially in the early seasons. Shane H. Wilder, and he's going to be doing it again now because Stephen Amell is starring in the Baywatch reboot. So I'm sure he will be shirtless plenty in that as well. Shane H. Wilder says, I've got some downtime, so I'm doing upper body training with a resistance band while watching. You can always find some time to work out.
Yep.
Brian Bledsoe says, will PCC start a Letterboxd account? Bro, I can't commit to anything. Like, it's like a place where you do movie reviews. I can't commit to it. Like, I can barely commit to writing like half-formed thoughts on X.
Yeah.
Just seems like too much responsibility. All right. Brian Bledsoe says, I guess my aesthetic is political or religious shirts and black cargo pants. My profile picture. That was good.
Thank you.
Did you hear the click?
I didn't hear the click again. The headphones, I don't hear it.
You would have seen. My head literally went. I heard the click.
I didn't hear it. But that's okay. I appreciate the rush of, just a little bit of adrenaline there. So I'll take it.
Yep. All right. That was good stuff. Again, Brian Bledsoe, I feel like I didn't get to go through the whole thing. He says, I guess my aesthetic is political or religious shirts and black cargo pants. My profile picture is an aberration.
I mean, look, Brett is black on black on black on black on black. Yep. So it makes sense.
Yep. All right. Matt says, are you caught up on the Better Harry Dresden Files? The author said an adaptation is in the works with someone that read the series this time and picking 3 books to start. Which 3 would you pick? I don't know them well enough for that. Like I said, I read a couple of them, back in 2020 and 2021. I was listening to them as audiobooks. And I've watched the show several times, and I understand that almost it's very much inaccurate almost from the beginning. Like, there's nothing about it that really falls in line with the series. But I will say that it makes more sense to do now in the age of the limited series. But selfishly, the episodic case of the week structure of the Paul Blackthorne series worked for me because I like that type of show. But it should be interesting to see how that works out. Shane H. Wilder says, speaking of the Hard Rock Cafe, how does everyone feel about the chocolate company recalling their chocolate for being tainted with Viagra? Well, I think what it was tainted by ingredients that appear in Viagra.
That's
what they said,
yeah.
Which just feels like engagement bait.
They framed it and they really were using company speak. I don't know. I mean, good for them that they're changing it back to the OG recipe. That's right. It's Reese's, right? Like Hershey's. Reese's.
First of all, Reese's is not a thing. It's
Reese's.
Yeah.
Sorry for yelling. Sorry. For
Nobody. It's not Reese's Pieces. It's Reese's
Pieces. Sorry, I forget that this is the one thing that This is our one argument now. Reese's. Is that better? Is that better for you? Okay. No. Reese's.
Yeah. I did tweet about this.
You did. You had a good one.
It went over a couple of people's head, but I said I'm swearing off hard candy, and nobody got what I was saying, but that was the joke. Carnell says, Olivia, now that you have successfully stolen Brett's most used quote at the end of the day, can we now get a Olivia recommends?
The West Wing.
She loves the West Wing.
I love the West Wing. Yes, it's a lot of liberal propaganda.
She loves.
But if you avoid the if you just it's there, but if you just okay, it's coming, it becomes a lot.
She also loves, and to be fair, I also love Madam Secretary.
I love Madam Secretary. That's another one.
I stopped when Hillary Clinton showed up.
Designated Survivor first 2 seasons. Do not watch season 3 unless you want to watch gays megs on your screen.
Mm-hmm. But Olivia loves the lib propaganda. I love the neoliberal war propaganda. She loves the neoliberal straight political propaganda.
Hell yeah.
Whereas I'm more like, I love the propaganda of rah rah, let's invade the Middle East. Even if I don't support that position, it harkens back to a time when we had a more unified front as a country, and we were like, you know, actual blood for oil. I love those movies and shows, but you know, as an escapist fantasy of an America that one time felt more connected and you know, cohesive. All right. Corey Anderson says, I Googled it. Those positions are inappropriate for a young audience. People let their kids see this. Yes, they do. They let their kids go to these shows. And
a lot of them are actually upset when they realize. Parents will be really upset when they realize. And again, I don't agree with that. Like I'm explaining, I don't agree with that behavior. So.
Yep. Brian Bledsoe says, Hard Rock Cafe sounds like a place in Nevada, in a Nevada brothel. Yes, it does.
It probably is. I'm sure it exists somewhere.
So... are the Nevada brothels even still around? Nobody's going to Vegas anymore because Vegas is too expensive.
They're hurting.
Talk about shrinkflation.
Oh.
Shane H. Wilder says, the crisis party hit Olivia like a Vietnam flashback.
It kind of felt like it. Yeah, that one hit me a little different. Again, when you're doing the show, especially when I'm not paying attention, because when you're just a guest and you're kind of third chairing it, you're like, okay, I can kind of pay more attention to it. When you're sitting here co-hosting, it's really hard to pay attention to that stuff. You're just focused on the topic, and then like, okay, can we get another crisis party? And then all of a sudden it happens. You're like, I guess we can. Yep. That scared me.
Heck, we're like almost halfway there to a third one.
I know.
Let's go.
They like us.
All right. High Voltage 75 says, Olivia, what's your favorite Bob Dylan song? She doesn't have one.
I don't. I've never really been a Bob Dylan listener.
It was like the one thing I actually asked her.
He was like,
look,
after he sent the meme, he's like, so what do you think about Bob Dylan?
I was like, look, I'll marry you, but there's
one
I need
question.
to know first.
There's one question. When he asked my dad for permission, he also asked him if we played Bob Dylan in the house growing up.
Red Snow says, can't wait for the clearance Reese's post Easter.
I was rude.
Pop Culture Junkie says, just in from my Warner Brothers Discovery source, Supergirl close to breaking test screenings record. 8 screenings, 3 different endings tested. Alcock's performance is praised. Villain not so much. Attendees said the film is just okay. Yeah, that's what it's going to end up being. It's going to end up being perfectly acceptable, fine, whatever slop that you don't remember in 10 minutes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. That is everything. That is all the super chats here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Would you all please, as always, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. We had one more here from Broody Gambit. Over on Rumble, says, my dad was lead of the team that designed the wireless components for the Nintendo DS.
Nice.
I got to test prototypes.
I found my Game Boy Color the other day, by the way. That was awesome. I showed Brett.
Yep.
Super cool.
All right. Where can they find you?
Hi, guys. You can find me at Olivia Dasovic on both X and on Instagram, and you guys should go and join the Timcast server. Go to timcast.com and hit join now, and you will be able to become a member of our members only server. We have pre-shows, we have post-shows, we have morning shows, and we're going to be doing an award show for the Discord this weekend, hosted by my friend T-Bone at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, where we go over and we find some of the best members of the Discord, and we go ahead and we give them what we call the Timmies or the Beanies, depending on who you ask.
Wait, dude, that's not fair. It has to have a name.
It's the Timmies, kind of but like the award is like a bean. It's not a real, obviously.
It's kind of like how the Oscars is also the Academy Awards.
Right, and that always confused me. But you guys should go and join. If you guys like watching me here, I am also there more often, and you can kind of have random conversations with me, talk to me directly. Every once in a while, Brett might pop into a voice chat. You never know. I'll be camera on. He'll pop in the background. Oh, hey. And you get more mocha there. Thank you so much. I've had a really good time today co-hosting, so Excellent. It's been good being here.
All right, guys. If you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Remember that PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific, at least when my voice is working, which is feels like it's starting to go again. But Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you are a listener of this podcast rather than just a watcher, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. One more heads up, guys. I will be filming a special bonus episode for members of the channel with Blabs from Side Scrollers. We're going to be talking about all things Harry Potter after the show today. I will be putting up tonight. So if you are a member of the if you are a YouTube channel member for PCC, if you are not, you should go ahead and join right now, because that is where all the bonus content is going, on top of getting access to all of the emojis, including chair, which was added today. So with all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all again so much for joining us today, and we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.